Evening, everyone, and welcome to Meet the Candidates Forum for the office of Mayor of the City of Saratoga Springs. There are two candidates on the ballot. Both candidates were invited and both accepted the invitation and are participating. This event was organized by the League of Women Voters of Saratoga County. It will be recorded and posted on the League's website. League rules require that if a candidate forum is recorded, it must be broadcast or rebroadcast in its entirety. My name is Linda McKenney, and I am a member of the League of Women Voters of Saratoga County. I live in the town of Northumberland, and I will be the moderator this evening. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan, volunteer political organization dedicated to the informed and responsible participation of citizens in government. The League never supports or opposes any political party or candidate. This has been League policy since 1920. Membership is open to anyone 16 and over, so please consider joining your league. We have received questions from the public in advance. These were reviewed by League members and selected to be representative and to avoid redundancy. Questions of a personal nature are never included. None of the candidates have seen the questions before tonight. Candidates, this is your opportunity to let the voters know your stance on these topics and how you will address the issues facing this community. Please do not waste valuable time tearing down or labeling your opponent. Deal with the facts. In your closing statements, absolutely no zingers or gotcha moments. Please do not put your opponent on the spot with no chance for a reply. We have a timer for this evening's event who will be seen by the candidates on screen. The timer will hold up signs for the candidates to glance at to let them know how much time they have left. Green means you have 1 minute left, yellow means 30 seconds left, and red means stop. The time is up. If you continue to speak, you will be interrupted. The two candidates for mayor of Saratoga Springs are in alphabetical order, Supervisor Michelle Madigan and Mayor John Safford. Now it's time to hear their 2-minute opening statements. We did a little exercise to figure out who would go first. And so our first speaker tonight is Supervisor Madigan. You may go. Unmute yourself and we'll hear your opening statement. There you go.
Okay, good evening. I'm Supervisor Michelle Madigan, the mother of 2 sons, a librarian by training, and a longtime public servant who knows how to get things done. Before entering city government, I ran a national library for the U.S. Small Business Administration. I ran a research center for a commercial finance company, and I worked in college, university, and academic libraries, or public libraries. That background has taught me how to find facts, solve problems, and make informed decisions. As finance commissioner for 10 years, I delivered balanced budgets with stable taxes, and sometimes I even reduced those taxes. I refinanced city debt, saving taxpayers millions, and launched the Spa Solar Park on the Weibel Avenue landfill, a project that provides 40% of the city's electricity costs. I also worked with State Parks and Recreation Department to fence in the city's dog park for safety reasons, partnered with Habitat for Humanity to help build homes in our downtown, and worked well with the Republican majority at the County Board of Supervisors to secure land for a permanent code blue shelter. As mayor, I will focus on what matters: addressing homelessness with compassion and results, moving affordable and workforce housing forward, making building and planning work efficiently and fairly for everyone, expanding clean energy and smart infrastructure projects, and improving communications through modern tools, and yes, a good old-fashioned daily, monthly newsletter, maybe quarterly, to residents so that they know what's going on. Our city deserves experienced, hands-on leadership that tackles problems and gets things done. I look forward to a meaningful conversation this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Madigan. And Mayor Safford, you're up.
Thank you. Well, since I have a couple of minutes, let me start talking just from the beginning. My father was a yellow school bus driver for 40 years, and he was the best school driver ever. I've always been very proud of him. I'm a Catholic raised, Jesuit educated Army infantry officer. I have a degree in business management, and I started 3 companies in the 80s and 90s. I had a successful computer company. And since moving here into zeros and tens, I had a successful management company. And for all of that time, a friend of mine developed a little medical device that we now sell all over the world, and I'm still working with them. I'm just a hardworking guy who who who's there for whatever needs to be done. I haven't missed one meeting. I'm in that office every day. I'm open to talking to anybody who wants to talk. And there are 3 things that I emphasize, basically 4 things that a mayor has to do. And one is represent the city with dignity, which I do. But the other is to manage the department in our commission form of government. And I have a lot of management experience. I have a degree in it. And I also have conducted hundreds and participated in hundreds of board meetings and that sort of thing, which gives me a lot of skill. So this is the thing I'd like to leave in the voters' minds. I am the best mayor for the future of Saratoga Springs. I'm a hardworking guy with a lot of skills that I bring to the workplace. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Safford. Now it's time for the questions. Candidates, you have up to 1.5 minutes to respond to a question. You are not required to respond. You may pass if you wish. Each candidate will be allowed 2 opportunities to request an additional minute during this question and answer session for a rebuttal or to expand on your answer. Please hold up your hand and wait to be acknowledged by me before you begin your extra minute. This can only be done during the Q&A session. It may not be used for your closing statement. Remember not to interrupt each other. The timers and I will keep track of the number of extra minutes used. Questions will be directed to the candidates in rotation so that each candidate gets a chance to respond first. And please feel free to ask me to repeat any of the questions. As you will soon see, some of them are long. So I'll try to go as slow as I can. And you may want to jot down notes too for some of them. But we can repeat questions. So the first question is going to Mayor Safford. What is your response to the criticism of the Saratoga Springs camping ban ordinance? What changes, if any, would you support?
So you're asking, I guess, whether, so I'm responding to criticisms of the camping ordinance?
The question, and this came from the public. What is your response to the criticism of the Saratoga Springs camping ban ordinance, however you interpret that?
Okay.
What changes, if any, would you support?
Okay, the camping ban ordinance is working. And why is it working? Because we're encouraging people who cannot help themselves to help themselves. And as long as we keep doing that, it's already had some success, especially with some of the people who are most familiar downtown. But what a lot of people don't know is before we did that, there was a whole influx of new people who were sleeping on the street, who were actually in pretty bad shape. And we had no way to address that. But we're continuing to do that. It is working. We will continue to work with our police officers and with our social worker who goes with them to get those folks into places where they can be helped.
Thank you, Mayor Safford. And Supervisor Madigan, do you want me to repeat the question? You're on mute.
Sorry. No, I have it. It's a criticisms
Okay.
about the camping ban. Is that if we're
Yes, and
talking
what
about the camping ban?
changes, if you would make, if you have any changes, what would you do?
So I really believe Housing First works, and we can tell that by looking at our downtown. Over the last few years, we have been working with Rise Services, and we have implemented a homeless court. And you can tell it's working in our downtown because anybody that's familiar with Saratoga Springs can recall all of the homeless people that were hanging around our parking garages and tents and clothes hanging up and mattresses. And while we still have some homeless on the street, we don't see that anymore. That's because we now have a low barrier shelter, we have the homeless court, and we have Rise and Shelters of Saratoga. I do not support the camping ban. I think it's a treatment first model. And I don't understand how it's working because everything I've read in the media says to me that our city court judges are tossing the cases because it doesn't allow for offering these services. It's $100 fine or a $250 fine. And our judge has refused to implement those fines, so she dismisses it. I have sent emails to the city council asking them to bring it back and modify it so that those services are an option to offer services through Rise instead of having this punitive fine that the homeless cannot afford. I would likely repeal the law or amend it so that those options are available to our city court judge. And I would certainly bring the fine down from 250 to maybe 50.
Thank you. And the next question is for you, Supervisor Madigan, and it is, with hundreds of Airbnbs purchased as investment properties, what will you do to ensure a single family homes are affordable and available to Saratogians who want to raise their families here? And then there's a second part. How would you approach a potential property tax increase next year in light of this?
So, all right, we're talking about workforce, short-term rentals. The number one issue that I'm hearing at the doors, and I've knocked on or made phone calls, 3,000, 3,500, and I continue to keep moving, is short-term rentals. It's an issue. It's not an issue if you're owner occupied and you want to rent your home. We've been doing that for decades in Saratoga Springs. We have a history of it, right, during our racing season. But I have been pulled out into streets where women and men and families say, that's a short-term rental, that's a short-term rental, that's a short-term rental, that's a short-term rental. And they're upset. They're upset because families aren't moving in. So we have a lot of people coming in because this short-term rental market has been so successful for investors that it's driving up the average cost of a home to $700,000. So we really need to look more at legislation on the short-term rentals and not look at punitive fines for those who are owner occupied. And I think we can do this. The short-term rental legislation that's been passed needs more work. Now, if you're asking me about how we're going to go about with new workforce and affordable housing, I think that's a whole separate question, other than talking about the short-term rentals, which truly is the number one issue I'm hearing about in just about every neighborhood. One neighborhood literally has signs. Airbnbs do not make good neighbors. I mean, up and down the road. The neighborhoods are frustrated.
Thank you. And Mayor Safford, do you need the question repeated?
No, I have it. If you're at or you listened to the meeting last night, we had a very big discussion about the new law that was passed the governor just signed, which kind of puts us into a dilemma because we can now start generating revenue from short-term rentals, which we've never been able to do before. So there's that aspect of it. And right now we're looking very hard for new revenue. However, I absolutely agree that the number and places where short-term rentals should be limited. And we're continuing, obviously this is something that Commissioner Moran has been working very hard on. We've had a lot of discussions in terms of how to modify it, make it better for the city. We're starting to actually use it within the next month. And it's going to be interesting to see how that works, but definitely when the HOAs, I always had this problem. The main way to stop it was fines. And I'm working very hard on how to do that. Okay, I thought I was out of time. But the way that you do that is by enforcing the rules that we have and making sure that people who rent to people who bother their neighbors will pay for it. And that makes it economically unfeasible for them to continue to do that. That's at least a short-term way of approaching this. But there are long-term solutions as well that we're looking at.
Would like an extra minute?
Yes, please.
Yes, okay.
I think this is
Just
such
wait just
Sorry.
1 second
the timer.
until the timer's ready to start timing you. We're good.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I think this is one of the most important issues facing cities around the country. Lake Placid just implemented a much stricter law. I want to look at those laws. But we have a comprehensive plan, and it might be time to open it again because this is a big issue that wasn't really looked at in our last comprehensive plan. Our comprehensive plan opens with our neighborhoods are special. And what I'm seeing is 5, 6, 7 homes being sold on one street. People want young families moving in. They want people that they can see regularly. They know what's going on. So if anything, the city council really needs to do this, have a happy medium on it. This is a zoning issue. This is like operating a commercial business anywhere you want in the city. And again, do not want to penalize people who want to rent their house for a couple weeks here and there. You know, it helps pay their taxes. It helps put their kids through school. But we've got to look at keeping people from just paying cash, buying up our inventory, and pricing people out that live here, that want to live here, pricing them out and can't buy.
Okay, thank you. And let's see here. So the next question will go to you first, Mayor Safford. What will you do to protect and expand tenants' rights in Saratoga Springs? And what role do you believe tenants' rights play in the current housing crisis?
Wow, that's a kind of a loaded question. Tenants' rights. I wouldn't have expected that. However, if you have ever been a landlord in New York State, you know very well that tenants are incredibly well protected in New York State. Expanding tenants' rights, being kind and caring about the people who have needs, there's no question about that. But I'm much more sympathetic to the owners who cannot get rid of bad, bad tenants. It's very, very difficult. And I would like to see more laws that allowed a little more flexibility there. I understand why they're there, but I would not be expanding tenant rights. I'd be looking more for the landowners' rights to at least have a fair shot at that. At dealing with bad tenants. It's not good for business. It's not good for the city.
Thank you. Okay, and Supervisor Madigan?
Tenants' rights is very important. There's a lot of renters in our communities, and I got to tell you, renting in this community is more than a mortgage. Right there, I'd like to protect them. It's not like I don't understand that this is very valuable property in the city, but people are looking at for a 2-bedroom $3,000 a month. I think we should be, I don't know, there's rent control in other cities. We may need to have some here. It's outrageous. During COVID, we saw a lot of protections for tenants. A lot of those protections have now been removed. But because of COVID, we knew people weren't going to be able to afford their rents. But sometimes they're just being priced out simply because the cost of rent is just doubled over the last 4 years. So that's something to think about. It gets into our whole housing issue. People who are older sometimes don't want to rent or don't want to buy anymore. They just want to rent. They don't want to have to deal with a property or a facility. So I think it's important that tenants have good rights that are spelled out, and decent landlords. We know there are some landlords around here that do not keep up on their properties or their parcels. So it's probably something I want to look at because rents around here are as high as a $700,000 mortgage for a starter home.
Thank you. And this next question is kind of similar to that, but there's a little extra in it. It's what will you do to protect tenants from predatory landlords and to protect Saratoga Springs from excessive development?
I'm sorry,
Oh, I'm
who's that?
sorry. It's Supervisor Madigan. Yes, I apologize.
So we're talking about
What will
tenants,
you
right?
do to protect tenants from predatory landlords and to protect Saratoga Springs from excessive development?
Well, I'll start with the excessive development. I'm seeing signs everywhere, no more condos, no more condos, and I tend to agree with that. Although I also abide by our comprehensive plan, which calls for density in the inner core, and I like that. I don't see us building a lot of homes in the inner core, but I do think we've sort of almost maxed out on condos. There's just too many of them. The sunlight's going away. Uh, but that infill in the inner core is important. Like that's what our comprehensive plan calls for. As far as protecting tenants' rights, if there's laws and legislation we can pass, I would certainly look at it. If we can implement some kind of rent control, I mean, most of these places, these apartment complexes, they're designed to make you move out. You move in at a good rent, and then it goes up the next year, and then it goes up the next year, and then it goes up the next year. And you know what they'll literally tell you? Well, you can move out of that place and move into the place next door, and that'll go, cost you $600 less. So these rents in these apartment complexes are designed to hurt you and make you move. You can stay in the same place, you can pay less rent, you could live in the same sort of apartment one floor down, but and pay less. So something about that doesn't make me right, and doesn't seem right, and I'd like to help protect tenants from that kind of predatory practice for sure.
Okay, thank you. And Mayor Safford?
Good tenants make good landlords. There are a lot of good landlords in this city. Very few poor landlords. I mean, people care about the city. They care about their property. They care about their apartments. And frankly, like we were just talking, New York State provides all kinds of protections for tenants here. And to think that we have to expand them, I think is not a good idea to even think that they need to be expanded a lot. With regard to some of the things that the supervisor's talking about, uh, we have a lot of renters, but we also have what's called a missing middle. We don't have rents that are amenable to working families or to first home buyers. And that is something we had some interns working with us this last summer to come up with solutions for that. And that's something that the council is looking at. I am looking at within our zoning. And one of the things the supervisor did mention is that we need to start looking at our UDO and our comprehensive plan again. We were going to do that, but the head of planning unfortunately died while we were kind of working with her to do that. And now we have to get that started, and we will do that.
Okay, thank you. And Mayor Safford, the next question is for you. What is the most effective and professional response a mayor can bring to an outpouring of public criticism for a city policy or proposed ordinance?
Well, I mean, what can we do? We have public hearings on any issue that we're going to vote on. So I guess I don't quite understand the question from that standpoint. If there's something that people are outraged about, they certainly can write us. They can come and talk at the city council, which are now peaceful and safe, just as the city is peaceful and safe, which is something I promised when I first came in, if people remember what it was like 3 years ago. And I'll continue to do that. And I will continue to run meetings where people feel safe, that they can come and say whatever it is that's on their mind. If they're outraged, they can tell us that they're outraged, and we will listen to them. But I mean, this is the way democracy works, and I'm very much in favor of anybody doing that. Very open to what anybody. I mean, you can come into my office. I once in a while have somebody who's pretty outraged that comes to the office, but I talk to them. And I will continue to do that kind of thing. That's what I do. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Supervisor Madigan, you're up.
Well, we should listen more. And when we have an ordinance that's not exactly popular, I have sat on the city council for 10 years. We would have multiple public hearings on sensitive topics such as the casino coming here to Saratoga Springs, and other ordinances. One thing I noticed during our latest camping ban public hearing, we only held one public hearing. Historically, when I was on the city council, we held 2, 3, or 4 public hearings on a topic that would be of interest, like the no camping ban. And unfortunately, we only held one. People come out of their house to speak to you. You need to listen to them. One thing I would not do is immediately vote after one public hearing and read a prepared statement. When you do something like that, you're showing the people that you are not listening to them. You need to listen to them. You need to take notes. You need to go back. You need to talk about it with your team. And you need to decide, do we need to make changes? You just have to listen to the people. And I have not seen a lot of that over the last year or so. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Supervisor Madigan, the next question is for you. If elected, what is one major accomplishment you would like to see the city council team achieve in the next term that was not completed in the last 2 years?
Housing, workforce housing, housing for families, librarians, police officers, firefighters, nurses. We have to do something about that. And where we are doing well on that is that Governor Hochul is pro-housing. She has signaled that in her various budgets. So I am hopeful that she will have something again in her next budget where municipalities can partner with them, the state, with tax credits, buy land, and start building real workforce housing, not $700,000 starter homes. And I believe it can be done. Now, there are other ways to grow housing, accessory dwelling units. We tried inclusionary zoning when I was on the council. That's something that could be looked at again. But I am convinced with our pro-housing governor, we can make great strides in housing. And that is one of my #1 issues. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can
And
you
we have
repeat
separate-
that? There's a
Sure.
lot to that question.
No, I would be happy to. If elected, what is one major accomplishment you would like to see the city council team achieve in the next term that was not completed in the last 2 years?
What needs to be completed right now is the automation. I mean, internally, that actually we are working more cooperatively now than we ever have with accounts, which is a difficult thing to do, right? And the building department to automate all of our records and to implement software for the building department. That is a critical step forward in terms of making our process more open. I would like to report, though, that our 16-week building permit now is down to 8. We've been implementing management things of that nature for it. But that's one. But the other thing that is critically important right now and is going to take a lot of professional effort is we need to solidify our police and fire contracts, union contracts that will affect the finances of the city for the next 20 years. They have to be done well, they have to be done fairly, and they have to be done professionally. And that is critical right now.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, can I?
Yes.
Oh,
So
you
another,
mentioned
just 1 second, Michelle. The time, make sure the timer's ready. Okay, you go ahead.
The mayor mentioned the building and planning department, and I'm not there day to day, and it wouldn't be right for me to be there day to day. But I have knocked on about 3,500 doors, and I plan to continue knocking on more. And outside of short-term rentals, the other issue I hear about is the building and planning department. It does not seem to be particularly responsive to, I would say, certain people. We have a small business that's been waiting over a year for a permit to start moving, basically to operate their business. I've met someone who for 2 years is going back and forth with the building department because this person wants to renovate an attic. I have run into people that say 9 months to a year. I know a couple that I met that has been waiting 9 months, it's probably a year by now, just to build a new home. Now, if we can't start making the building and planning department more efficient, I don't know how we're going to do things on housing and accessory dwelling units and inclusionary zoning, etc. It needs to work better.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll respond to that.
Yep, just 1 minute, please. Wait me to the timer's ready to
All right.
go right ahead. Yep.
With regard to the building department, one of the big mistakes that has been made by past mayors is not respecting the professionalism of the people in that department, and why it sometimes takes longer. And it is true in Saratoga Springs, we are very particular about what we do and what we approve. And it is disrespectful, in my opinion, for any mayor, and mayors in the past have done this, to try and usurp or overcome the professional nature of that. It's not the people, it's the process. And we are working very hard now on improving that process through management and through automation. And it is getting better.
Okay, thank you. And this next question will go to you first, Mayor Safford. What specific steps will you take to move yourself and city staff and council toward a civil, amicable team, both behind closed doors and in public? And how will you ensure that all residents' voices are heard?
That for me is a simple management question. I've always used a management style. It's called fair, firm, and front. You have to be consistent. It's one of the things that I point out about myself. I'm in the office every day. I don't miss any meetings. I am always available to people. And one of the things about the management style that I propose and that I have espoused all my life is that you respect the people who work for you, you empower them, you encourage them, you teach them. If they're failing in some way or the other, you don't reprimand, you work with them. I've been able to do that in City Hall. Civility has returned to City Hall. Safety has returned to City Hall. Safety has returned to the city. We want to keep it that way.
Okay, thank you. And Supervisor Madigan, do you want me to repeat the question?
You mentioned civility, what, in City Hall,
It's,
council meetings,
what specific steps would you take to move yourself and the city staff and the council toward a civil, amicable team, both behind closed doors and in public? And how will you ensure that all residents' voices are heard?
Okay. So I believe the people in our city are indeed civil, but our politics have become extremely divisive. And that's where we run into issues. Our politics are not. We run into it at the city council table. We run into it day to day. We run into it on social media. The tone is set by leadership, from the mayor of a city to your county chairs, to your city chairs of political parties, to our governor, to our president. And, in order to handle a meeting, we don't need to necessarily arrest people when things get out of control. And that has happened recently. And we don't need to have a lot of bickering among commissioners. That's what a gavel is good for. And I was happy, Mayor, to see you with a gavel last night. And it worked. And
Yes, it
and so yes, so I do believe we can simply have people removed if they can't operate with decorum and proper respect, but we don't need to arrest them. And a gavel goes a long way when running a meeting. It's just something about it that works. So if bickering starts at the council table, it's up to the mayor to take control and stop that bickering and move us on towards city business. And I will do that. And of course, I'm always open to listening to the people. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And Mayor Safford would like another minute.
Are we
Just 1
reset?
sec. Yep, we're set.
I'm just going to remind people what it was like 3 years ago. And I have to say that remnants of that council are still on the city council. And we have some ups and downs from time to time. One of the things that you will find is that we have a lot of, it's very peaceful between the people in the audience and the commissioners. The only problem is when the commissioners sometimes get a little out of control. And thank you. Yes, the gavel worked last night. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Supervisor Madigan, you're up next for this question.
Okay.
What is your financial vision for the city, given rising inflation and job loss trends, and how will these challenges be addressed in next year's budget?
Well, everything is very concerning financially, especially with what we see happening at the national level. It's impacting our nonprofits. People are losing their jobs. ICE is roaming around our neighborhoods. But I believe the finances of the city are good. And I believe they always have been, except during COVID. And we are not in a COVID year, and we can't just plan for another catastrophe. We are sitting on decent reserves. We should continue to sit on good reserves, build our reserves, and lots of assignments. Some of these assignments are restricted and some are not. We have healthy fund balances. We are growing revenues. So I predict our sales tax goes up year after year after year. Our issue is a council, after I left the council, decided to put 4 people on a fire engine. That was negotiated with the firefighters, and now we must stand by that. So we have to plan to make sure we can support and pay all our people. But I do believe the city is in excellent financial health, and we can do that going forward. And I'm someone who can read a budget and know the ins and outs of what's going on. And I've yet to see the council ask, how much do we have in each reserve? How much is assigned? How much is unassigned? Because to me, it looks like we've got close to $9 million and assigned, but it's not restricted assignments. Let's look at those. Let's break them open, and quite a heavy fund balance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you
Okay,
ready?
Mayor Stafford. Yep.
Yes, I often have people ask me why the city is so successful, and it is successful because we are not totally dependent on our tourism, which we kind of got caught with COVID. But a lot of people don't know that we have a very, very, very solid manufacturing operation, or a number of them. I was counting them today in the Grandy Park. There's like 12 of them, and high tech, good jobs. We have that. We have another thing people don't know, our amateur sports bring in about $4 million a year. We're doing very well, and there are 2 things that I'm really excited about. One thing is that the Belmont has brought us national advertising for free that has raised our this is a place that people want to be. The other thing is that the naval group is now back in order, and they are a major economic driver for our area. So I'm positive about some of the areas where we're going to increase our revenue. We have to get control of our expenses. We absolutely have to, which is why I really want to see my deputy in the finance area, because she's very, very experienced and will greatly help that department. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Mayor Stafford, you're up for the next question. Will you support funding for the Saratoga Senior Citizen Center? And if yes, how will that happen?
Absolutely. I mean, we had a meeting last night. We're expecting, like a lot of response. And again, it's a little confusing with the current commissioner, because 2 weeks ago, she was saying we weren't going to fund it. Now she says we are going to fund all these. So the air was taken out of that. I have always supported the senior center, and always will support the city in any way that they need. And definitely will find funding for them. The question is what and how we're going to fund the rest. And I agree that we need to do those things. We've agreed, for example, to at least do another year with the low barrier shelter, and we've committed to that. If the commissioner Simon can come up with the money, we're definitely going to support all of those things. But we're definitely going to support the senior center, no question.
Okay, thank you. And Supervisor Madigan?
We absolutely need to fund all of the nonprofits, not just the senior center. And we need to fund the Rise Low Barrier Shelter. We have committed to that and we know it works. So I expect that those things will be refunded. I was finance commissioner for 10 years, and almost every mayor I worked with the exception of Scott Johnson, wanted to pull the nonprofits out of their budget and the senior center. And I always refused. At one point, it got to the point where I was like, if you are making a mistake, the seniors will come out in droves and they vote. I said, if you don't want to keep them in your budget, I'm going to put them in the finance department budget because it's the least we can do. I mean, most cities actually completely fund their senior center. We are lucky that we have a great executive director that fundraises and makes so much money and gets people involved in our beautiful, wonderful new facility. I believe in funding the arts as well. And we've got the arts center down on Broadway. We are doing some work on the building. I know because I put some bonding in for that when I was finance commissioner. We're a wonderful community with strong arts. We've got Cafe Lena, we've got the SPAC, we've got the Tang, we've got UPH, and I want to make sure that those are thriving as a cultural institution because that also helps drive revenues. But I believe the funding is there to fund our nonprofits, and I have always funded them and will continue to do so.
Thank you. So Mayor Safford, you've used both of your red cards.
Oh, I only have 2 red cards.
You only have
Okay.
2. I'm sorry. I wasn't clear about that, I guess. I apologize. Supervisor Madigan, you're up next for this one. Now, this has a bunch, and some of the things in this question you both have already touched on, but there's several questions within the question. So, how would you deal with the problem of homelessness? Would you create or support the creation of a permanent shelter for people who are unhoused members of our community? Where would it be? How would it be financed? And would you approach the county to assist with the process and the financing?
I'm sorry, which one?
Oh, I'm sorry, it's Supervisor Madigan.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay. So we're dealing with homelessness, a permanent shelter. Where should it be? Right?
Mhm, mhm.
Where should
How would it be
fund-
financed? And would you approach the
and
county to
Okay.
assist?
So I love the low barrier shelter, and I can honestly say I didn't know how it was going to work when they first started this under Ron Kim's administration. I will give him a lot of credit for working really hard to get that low barrier shelter in place. It's working. You know how you can tell it's working? If you go downtown to our parking garages now, you don't see mattresses and tents and people's clothes hanging out all over the place or people going to the bathroom in the staircases. So yes, I believe we need a permanent shelter. I don't know where it should be located, but likely in the city because that's where things are happening. That's where homeless people typically are, is the city. And what was it? The city should fund it or
How would it be
where should it be
financed?
located? Oh, and in terms of working with the county, I think the county cares a lot. I've been sitting on the board of supervisors, and one of the things I've recommended, I don't want to just complain about the county from the city council table or just yell the county should do it. We have got to go down, meet with the county chairs of, say, Health and Human Services, meet with the county chairs of Economic Development, make presentations, get them to understand our homelessness situation, get them to understand that we need them to contribute. But we don't do this like a bull in a china shop. Okay, we work with them, just like I was able to secure funding with the Republican majority on the County Board of Supervisors for a permanent code blue location that lingered for decades. I am convinced we can do this, but we have to do this amicably. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Mayor Safford, do you want me to repeat the question, the multi-pronged question?
No, I think I'll try to do it. If I ask, I'll
Okay.
ask for it. I mean, you can't have it both ways, Supervisor. If you don't want mattresses and that, you don't want a camping ordinance. It was starting to build up
I didn't say I
again.
wanted them.
We did the
I
right
said they're
thing.
not there.
Okay, so,
Sorry.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
he's
Uh,
directing it at me
okay.
though.
Okay, so
Okay.
we wouldn't
All right.
direct questions to one
Okay, but
another.
let's talk about homelessness for a minute. I have been involved with VCHC, for example, the Veterans Homeless. I've been the Veterans Chair at the Elks for many, many years. I've been very involved with the Salvation Army over those years. I've been dealing with trying to help the homeless situation, particularly veteran homeless, for many years. I'm very familiar with this problem. There are basically three types. You have the financial homeless. And a lot of people who say we've got to support them. It could be me. Anybody who gets in that type of a situation, there are a lot of solutions. The problem comes with mental and addiction problems, and having to deal with those is something that the governor's budget now has put money in to do. And I'm very, very interested in how that's going to play out and what rules and regulation we're going to be able to implement for them. And we are doing the right things right now to move the city forward, to keep it safe, but to make sure that the people who have needs like this are being met. And we're going to continue to do that.
Okay, thank you. And you will then be up, Mayor Safford, for the next question. And this is something that you both already kind of touched on, but maybe just a chance to maybe expand on it a little bit. What provisions will you make to assure affordable, city accessible housing for the many artists, artisans, students, and seasonal workers of low or no income to guarantee that we do not lose one of the most prized aspects of creativity and fresh thought supplied by these groups?
Yeah, so I think you're talking about artists that often, work for very little money. And so, I have had a real interest in all of Beekman Street for many years because that's basically the support group for that group of people, and I will continue to do that. We've expanded. We now have an arts commission and a very good chairman, and Beekman Street is a very important part of that. Now, funding for them is, our affordable. We have 1,800 affordable housing units out of 12,000. That's a lot. And we're building more. The Finley now has been passed, but we have the Liberty, there's a number of them that are being built right now for low income housing. And if someone is working, an artist and doing that sort of thing and needs to have that type of housing, we're definitely working. But we also have to meet what's called the missing middle. Make housing attainable. And we are working toward that. That's what these interns were giving us all kinds of ideas. And we're going to continue to move in that direction.
Okay, thank you. And Supervisor Madigan?
The arts are very important. The people who work in the arts are very important, as are our hospitality industry workers, as are our nurses, firefighters, police officers, librarians, and teachers. This all comes under sort of the same thing, affordable and workforce housing. The city's done a great job with some affordable housing. We do have Entrada over on West Avenue. We have Rise building affordable housing over on Finley Street, and we have Liberty affordable housing building over on the casino. Those are all available to artists, teachers, lawyers, not lawyers. They probably don't want it, but maybe you're just starting out. Firefighters, police officers. It does just sort of transition into the same sort of question. Beekman Street is great. There is a place now where we really have a thriving artist community. We have galleries over there. We have, just all sorts of great things. Apparel art, just great things going on over there. And that's a great place for artists to stop. We've got UPH that people could talk to tap them into the artist community. We've got the arts building down on Broadway that the city owns that we're renovating. I just think this falls under the general category of workforce and affordable housing, and I've shared my ideas for that, and I've also told you it's my #1 issue, and it will be. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. This is going to be the last question. So Supervisor Madigan, you're up for this first. We have a growing pool of Americans who are aging out of their ability to drive. What plans are being made to increase the availability of Saratoga's public transport and encourage its use before we lose this important contributing segment of our population to areas where buses and other transport runs more than hourly and is affordable to a fixed/retiree's income?
I grew up on a bus. It was the best thing ever. But I also lived in a city that connected easily to another city and to, connected to Troy, connected to Albany, connected to, we had a lot of cities close by. We live in the city and country. We need to continue advocating for buses through the Capital District Regional Planning Committee. I know the mayor sits on one of these committees that has to do with transportation. Any mayor will, and I would strongly advocate for more buses for seniors. I don't think seniors want to be driving and looking for parking. One of the other things we have is the senior center, which is why it's important we always fund the senior center and look at potentially more funding because they pick up seniors and bring them to their appointments. They'll bring seniors downtown. They'll bring seniors to the senior center. They'll bring you to your doctor's appointment. So there's lots of things we can do within our community to make sure that our seniors are being taken care of.
Thank you. And Mayor Safford.
Well, it's not only the seniors, but it's the folks who don't have cars. Sometimes, in the wintertime, whatever, you don't want to ride your bike, So this city transport is very, very important to us. And I'm kind of sitting here because I'm sitting on an announcement with the CDTA. I've been working with them for the last year on coming up with a better solution for this question. And we now have it. I just can't announce it right now, but I can say this much and it will be announced next week, that we're bringing a whole new way of doing this to the city. It's going to be very exciting, and it will serve not only the seniors, but everyone who doesn't want to have a car. And it's going to be very exciting, but I can't tell you any more about it right now.
Okay,
but we've been
thank you.
working on this, and we'll continue to work on it.
Thank you. So we're now up to the closing statements. And remember, you have no more than 1 minute for your closing statement. And Supervisor Madigan, you will go first.
Thank you. Well, as we wrap up tonight, I want to thank everyone who cares about the future of Saratoga Springs. As Finance Commissioner, again, I delivered balanced budgets with stable taxes, refinanced debt, saving taxpayers millions, launched the Spa Solar Park that provides 40% of our city's electricity costs, and worked across party lines to get things done, from fencing in our city dog park for safety, to helping build affordable homes downtown, to securing land for a permanent code blue shelter. I'm proud to be endorsed by the Saratoga Springs Firefighters, Local 343, and by 15 local organizations, including several of our building trades, like the electricians, the carpenters, the operating engineers, the iron workers, and the plumbers and pipe fitters. And the New York League of Conservation Voters also endorsed me. And in their endorsement, they said, Michelle Madigan has a bias toward action, and I do. Early voting begins October 25th and runs through November 2nd. Election day is Tuesday, November 4th. I pledge to be a mayor who works very hard every day for you, focused on progress. I humbly ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mayor Safford, your closing.
I'm just a hardworking guy with a lot of skills that I've been employing to make the city better. When I came in, the city was not doing well. It is doing wonderfully well right now. And I want to see that continue. My approach last time was safety, civility, and thank you to Commissioner Cole. Working together, we brought safety back to the city. Civility is another thing, but what I'm working on right now is just the idea of a steady hand for Saratoga. Keep moving forward, keep building the infrastructure, keep building the people, keep encouraging people to expand in their jobs, respect the fact that they're professionals, give them a chance to show that and make the operation function from that standpoint. So I am still the best mayor for the future of Saratoga Springs. Vote for me on row B or on row E, the One Saratoga line, which is kind of the future, in my opinion, of Saratoga Springs. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I want to thank both of you for participating in this event and for helping to educate the voters. I also want to thank the public for submitting the questions and all the viewers who have taken the time to watch this event and learn about the candidates. Don't forget to vote. Early voting starts on Saturday, November 25th and goes through Sunday, November 2nd. There are multiple early voting locations within Saratoga County. Hours are Monday and Wednesday, 12 noon to 8 p.m. All other days, the hours are 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Election Day is Tuesday, November 4th, and the polls will be open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. You will find your voting location and information about absentee ballots and early mail ballots by calling the Board of Elections of Saratoga County, going on their website, or using the League's vote411.org. Thank you, everyone, and good night.